Welcome to the Feature Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack. Unfortunately, Rick couldn't join us today, but he will be back next week. Street Fighter II, the movie, is produced by Capcom, SCDIC, Sony Music, just to name a couple of them. Studio for it is Group TAC. It's based off of a video game. The genres are action and adventure. It came out in August 1994. And it ran for about an hour and 45 minutes. Now, this movie straight up takes the Street Fighter II roster and just builds a globe-hopping action story around them. You have Vega, or M. Bison for the dub fans, is running the Shadaloo, or Shadowlaw, or English, and basically hunting down the world's strongest fighters so that he can either control them or recruit them to help him with his goals of global domination, is my assumption. Ryu is sitting at the center of the target because of his pure raw potential. And while Ryu's out doing his whole lone wolf, I'm just here to get stronger thing, Chun-Li and Guile are pushing the investigation and military side of the plot. And that's them trying to shut down Shadaloo before Vega can do any more damage. The movie's big focus is pretty straightforward. The fight scenes are honestly well executed, even if some of them play homage to the game itself in a very fun way. When you watch it, you will know if you've ever played any of the older Street Fighter games. And there are characters that definitely get a moment, even small, minor roles. This is more of a... Now, during the initial about this anime, the synopsis portion of it, I did kind of flip in between a couple of the names for the characters or what the organization is called. And that is because in English, they changed some of the names and from what they actually were in the original Japanese subbed version. So take, for example, you have for the dictator of the Shadaloo leader or organization. In Japan, he was Vega, but in the international version, he's M. Bison. Take the boxer, which was Balrog in the English versions or other versions. In Japan, it was actually M. Bison, aka Mike Bison, which obviously is inspired by Mike Tyson. And then you have the claw guy, the Spanish mask claw fighter. In Japan, he was Balrog. In the international version, he's Vega. So they did change some of the names around and swap them around. I'm not sure why they decided to do that or what the motive behind them doing that, but that is just generally how it ended up being. Now, it could have been just a misunderstanding or just what they decided to move forward with. But depending on the version that you choose will honestly dictate how the characters are called and by what name they're called. Now, the name swap is just one of the main things that they actually changed and modified in this anime. There were actually a lot of other different things, and some of it is smaller, more nuanced, but some of it was just really blaring and honestly massively different. And then depending on where you were watching it within the world, you also probably got a different cut. So in the original version and the version for Japan, you had it basically uncensored. And there was a really long and in my opinion, really needless and weird shower scene with Chun-Li where they kept fading in and out of certain points. And it was just really unusual. And for the international versions, they actually had cut that out. They really slimmed it down and trimmed down a lot of the fat, so to speak, for this movie. And I would say, honestly, if you're watching the cut version, you're probably not going to miss too much for it. A lot of the real portions of it are kept there. A lot of the needed stuff is still there. And then you also have some of the soundtracks and the audio that's playing and the audio dialogue changes. There are a lot of changes that are done there for that as well. Not just with the pure dialogue, but you also have a lot of the soundtrack that is actually changed. You have like swapping in for the English versions licensed artists that are just really heavy hitters for it. And then for the original Japanese music, some of the scenes you remember, you can just definitely feel a completely and vastly different vibe. So the music in this really helps set the tone, and depending on what you're listening to or watching, that tone can vastly change, can vastly shift just by the music alone. And it's not just the music that really kind of tones it all down. You have a lot of the spicier language gets cut out for the English US version because it gets rated a basically a preteen, teenage, or early teen movie. So they wanted to appeal to a larger, wider audience, a younger audience. So a lot of that really got toned down for it. Additionally, one of the things that you're going to be kind of either happy or disappointed about is a lot of the characters or a lot of the individuals that you really like or enjoyed from the games, they do largely get a very small part in this. They won't have big, massive points. The ones that you're really going to see that have a larger role that play in this is, like I had talked about, you have Vega, Bison, Balrog, you have Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and then Guile. But you have very few other people. They get small snippets, small little entry points, and it's not massive. Like you have Akuma just in the background at one scene, and he's just in the background in the scene eating, and that's it. He's just sitting there doing nothing. So you don't get to see him talk, fight, or anything like that. And then you do have some of those fighting scenes where it looks like they basically took portions out of the game or for how people genuinely do play the game and just pasted it in there, is how it honestly looks to me. And so it's not done poorly or in bad taste. I found it to be endearing. I found it to be fun. It was very much what I expected from it. And I also didn't really expect anything too deep or heavy in terms of plot. And that is exactly what it was. They didn't have a very deep or heavy plot. They maintained its relative light motion for it. And it was very easy to watch, very easy to follow through with, and very enjoyable. And this is honestly a movie that I've seen once before long ago. You know, I remember watching it back in the 90s, and I remember watching it again in the early thousands. And, you know, so this honestly for me was a very nice stroll down memory lane. And it also made me want to go and pick up the Street Fighter franchise again and just go and play it just to have fun. Not really do anything exciting or extravagant, not really get too deep into it like I had once done, but it is something that just kind of makes you want to go and play the game just for the nostalgia of it. And that's it. There's nothing else you really need to do. And Street Fighter 2, and honestly, in my humble opinion, is one of the more popular games that are out there for the franchise. And they did release a few different iterations of the game itself, and I actually own a couple of them. So it just really honestly speaks to the popularity of the game itself and to the franchise for Street Fighter in and of itself. So honestly, this is a very well done, very, very enjoyable show. It's a very enjoyable movie, and one that I honestly, I don't have too many things at fault to say about it. It is one that I am honestly, I'm glad that I got to go and watch again. I'm glad I got to go and see it again. So if you're a fan of the Street Fighter franchise, if you're a fan of anything having to do with Street Fighter in and of itself, this is definitely a show for you. You're not going to be disappointed in it by any stretch of the word. And I know that honestly, this is not a long episode, and I don't want to really drive too hard on trying to just talk to fill air, but this is a great show. It's a great watch. But for the downsides of it, it is very shallow in content, massively shallow in content. You basically have everyone kind of getting their day in the sun, their 5 minutes of fame in this, and that is largely it. There is no real big overarching plot. There's nothing massively earth-shattering about it. This was just, I feel, put out there just to be put out there, and that was it. Because you had scenes or certain moments where you had things happening or interactions that were happening where you felt like there would have been more. There could have been more built on that. And they just didn't. So it basically performs and acts as about as well as what you could expect for a animated movie about a video game. And to give fairness, I mean, you have a lot of different Street Fighter movies and everything like that are coming out, that have been coming out. So, like you had the Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's a classic. It's a wonderful movie. I enjoy every second of it. And it is just there for pure fun. It's by no means meant to be perfect or fantastic beyond any reasonable doubt. And then you also have, on top of that, the newer Street Fighter that's going to be coming out. And it looks like they're trying really hard for that retro feel. But it honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's going to be one of those ones where it doesn't matter if it's bad. It's just going to be enjoyable and everyone's going to love it regardless. So that's my honest to goodness opinion on it. And I don't really have anything else I can really say on this movie other than just go and watch it, because it's not a heavy or deep content movie. It's just there to be enjoyable and fun to watch, and that is it. So as far as a rating is concerned, I would honestly I'd give it a 7 because of how shallow of content it is. It is a long watch. It is over an hour and a half long. It's almost 2 hours long. And there's not much content to really feel it. You just have a bunch of random scenes put together. It is not animated badly. It's not poorly done by any stretch of the imagination, but you do have points where you're just like, why is that there? What is the purpose of introducing this person? It was made for the fans. It was made purely to show them some love, I guess. And that's it. There's nothing else for this movie. So next week, we are going to be watching a ninja and an assassin under one roof, as recommended to us by Major Montana. Thanks for the recommendation, Major Montana. They said we need to watch it because a ninja and an assassin living together. Why else? I agree. And that we need to get ready for a good laugh. So that's all the time that I have for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you feel like I did too much justice, not enough justice, or anything like that, feel free to let me know. You can reach out to us, and all the contact information and everything like that's available to you in the show notes. You can also go to featuredanimepodcast.com and contact us like that through there, and all our contact information, as well as all our affiliate links and everything like that, which do help us out. It does help support us. It does help us grow. You use those links like Crunchyroll to help get yourself a free trial, and it helps us grow, helps support us like that. And then, of course, there is patreon.com/featured anime podcast. $1 a month to get you access to bonus content and early content as well. I will try to get these episodes out as early as possible, especially for our patrons. And then, of course, let's not forget about Tokyo Treat. Use coupon code featured anime. You get $5 off that very first box. And trust me, the treats are always oh so worth it. And they are very delicious. And until next time, I'm Jack, and we'll catch you later.